San Quentin State Prison. Located on the north shore of the San Francisco Bay, it has been home to some of the most violent criminals in American history, like George Jackson. In 1971, he becomes the leader of one of the bloodiest uprisings in San Quentin's history. 10 years earlier, Jackson is sentenced to 1 year to life in prison. His crime? Robbing a gas station of just $70.
A sentence of 1 year to life is a horror. You don't know when you're ever getting out.
Jackson begins to give up hope that he will ever be free.
The system was almost designed to make you think you have no future, that it's hopeless. When you're hopeless, you do things that you normally would not do. It's almost like if someone has their boot on your neck, the one thing you want to do is get that boot off your neck.
On January 13, 1970, 3 black inmates are killed by a white correctional officer. In retaliation, George Jackson allegedly kills another officer named John V. Mills.
One of the worst crimes while you're in prison is to murder a correctional officer.
What was once a potentially minor sentence has turned into the death penalty for him. And Jackson knows there are now only 2 ways out of San Quentin: in a body bag or by escaping. But he thinks if he can smuggle in a weapon, he just might make it out alive. So he comes up with a dangerous plan that will risk everything for a chance at freedom. The next series of events are highly disputed and have never been proven in a court of law. However, this account is the official position of the state of California. August 21st, 1971, 2 p.m. George Jackson meets with his attorney, Stephen Bingham, in the visiting room of San Quentin's Adjustment Center.
He was able to get a pistol in his briefcase and a tape recorder that he brought into the visiting room. This pistol was broken down and put into the tape recorder in parts and then reassembled.
Jackson takes the gun, a Spanish 9mm Astra, and slips it into his afro wig, under a cap. 2:35 p.m. George Jackson is escorted by 2 officers back to his cell. Before they lock him up, they do a routine search.
The officers saw what they thought might be a pen or something very unusual protruding from his hair.
Jackson knew that it was time to take action. Out came the piece, and that was the beginning of the bloodletting.
Jackson knows he has to move quick, and he desperately needs backup.
He took control of the front area, got hold of the keys, and started letting inmates out of their cells.
So what's going on is just riot and mayhem. They're releasing other prisoners, they're taking the guards hostages.
The inmates who had taken over viciously assaulted some of the officers using fingernail clippers to sever their jugular veins. And after they did that, they tossed him into one of the cells.
Jackson lets dozens of inmates out of their cells. 2 officers are killed, and several more are injured. The prison erupts into a full-blown riot. The California Highway Patrol is called for backup. They're just minutes away.
Since Jackson has the keys, all he has to do is unlock the front door. And he went out and attempted to run.
George Jackson, according to witnesses, he goes out into that yard with the pistol in hand, waving it around.
With Jackson exposed, a sniper in the guard tower takes aim. 1 shot, and he's dead. In the last couple of decades, reforms at San Quentin have made it a much different place.
The biggest change at San Quentin has been the programs that have been introduced, education programs, self-help groups that are coming in.
It's a completely different prison than the prison that I knew of when the gangs were there.
While the reforms at the prison are welcome today, they can't erase over 150 years of suffering that occurred within its walls. There is a story for each of the tens of thousands of inmates who have passed through its gates. No one ever forgets their time at San Quentin.